Welcome back. And for more information on the latest developments in the Gaza Strip, I'm honored to be having with me on Panorama News for tonight Dr. Mohamed El Sherbini, the political analyst from the United States. Dr. Mohamed, thank you very much for being with us tonight on 9TV International and Panorama News.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmed, for inviting me, and thanks for your audience. And I'm very honored to be with you tonight, and thanks for the leadership in Egypt.
Yes, the honor is all mine. Of course, we do know about the decision or the intention of Australia to be recognizing Palestine as an independent state at the United Nations Security Council in the month of September. And we did see Egypt today commending such an intention and such a decision. How do you see the whole development?
Well, this development, even though it is conditional, but it does support the role of Egypt reaching out to all political strong parties around the world to recognize the state of Israel. And that's a great move, and I saw that move really was strong when President, His Excellency Sisi, met with Macron in Cairo, Egypt during his visit. Since then I see all this international development because of the support and the diplomacy of His Excellency to recognize the state of Palestine, and also at the same time for the people to know there will no peace in the area without the recognition of two states solution, and of course recognizing that Egypt is the bone to support this peace treaty.
On the other hand, how did you see the effort of Egypt on the political level to be garnering support, to be recognizing the state of Palestine? What does this say about the foreign policy of Egypt under the tenure of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati?
Well, I have to thank them, and I always praise them, and especially His Excellency President Sisi. And I even, if I allow me to say, a few years back, I wrote an article with the Diplomacy magazine, and I said, Your Honor, when do you sleep? I don't see him sleep at all. He's always like the guardians of Egypt and flying around the world to strengthen the relationship with the international community and also bring the stability to the Middle East. And now, as you can see, Egypt goes back, even during the pharaohs, we never attacked any country, we never abused or harassed any country during the pharaohs' time. And it has been the Egyptian policy for abroad. And if you go back to history, you will see that everybody and all our enemies, they need to attack Egypt to get the wealth, and they understand the position of Egypt in the area or the economic growth. So anyway, I go back and to President Sisi, travel and reach out to all the international community around the world, and using his diplomacy, and you can see that with the water crisis, he's been using his diplomacy to get this resolved, and the Egyptian diplomacy with the predecessor President Mubarak and Sadat and Nasser has been also strong in supporting the Palestinian and the Middle East, and the neighbors, they also know, and the international world knows that Egypt is the key of stability and support, and to bring not only peace treaty, to bring this growth, economic growth to every party involved. I mean, I wonder why the Israelis are not seeing that. They are losing a lot.
Yes, and still, Dr. Mohammed, on the diplomatic front, for the Palestinian cause by the efforts of Egypt, we have two main fronts. One of them is to be trying to be reaching a ceasefire between Hamas and the Israeli occupation forces or the Israeli government, and Egypt and Qatar and the United States, they are mediating efforts between both sides. This is on one front. On the other front, we need a more lasting resolution to the conflict between Israel and Palestine, and this will be made and attained, according to the statements of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, by having an independent Palestinian state, the two-state solution for Palestine and Israel for Palestine on the 1967 borders with East Jerusalem as its capital. How do you see the efforts of Egypt diplomatically on both fronts simultaneously?
Well, the effort of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, which I call him the guardians of Egypt and the Middle East, and I love his role in diplomacy and bringing the peace and reach out to everybody using diplomacy. I really praise his efforts, and I praise the Arab nations, and I praise every country that get involved to bring the peace treaty and solve this conflict that it has been since 1948, I believe, or 45. But I will call on Hamas to surrender their weapons, leave Gaza, bring peace, and work with the Egyptian government to bring peace, instruction, and bring growth to Gaza, and stop any enemy or any harassment against the Palestinian people. Enough is enough. The Egyptians suffered a lot economically,
yes.
And we basically we were in war since 1948. We did all of this for them. So it is time that they unite and don't bring any obstacles to the Egyptian diplomacy in bringing peace and recognition to the Palestinian state. So enough is enough. I think Hamas need to leave Gaza and leave their weapons and really work with the Arabs. The Arabs and the Egyptian diplomacy and the Egyptian government have done. I mean, if we go back to history, we see what President Mubarak and God bless his soul, and Omar Suleiman, how much they have done to bring aid and efforts, and now you can see President Sisi sending all these aids to them and supporting them. And I really, I'm tired and sick of hearing all this sick brotherhood saying, or anybody else that blind and saying, open the door or the road, yes, to let the aid go into, yes, Gaza. How can you bring the stuff into Gaza or the aid where the Israeli army are occupying this area? They are going to destroy any wagons that get into this area. So it is not that easy. So anyway, overall, the Egyptian diplomacy is being recognized by even President Trump here, and the American government, and of course President Macron, and the British, the Spanish, everybody around the world. So I think President Sisi took a lead in a different way that nobody ever did and used before, and that's why you can see all his efforts brought this success in recognizing the state of Palestine in September at the UN during the General Assembly.
Yes, Dr. Mohammed, you've raised a very important point, especially as a political analyst living and residing within the United States. The whole criticism given and pointed to Egypt regarding the Rafah border crossing that is not opened all the time, which is not true. It is opened from the Egyptian side. It is closed from the Palestinian side, which is occupied and controlled by the Israeli occupation forces. And the Gaza Strip, it has a number of other crossings which are controlled and are being closed as well by the Israeli occupation forces. How do you see the criticism given to Egypt, which is of course unvalid? It is not valid because we are only controlling the Rafah border crossing, and we are entering and we are having better access for the humanitarian aid from all parts of the world to the Gaza Strip. It has a number of other crossings. How do you see those criticisms on the social media outlets and the media outlets in general, especially the global ones?
To be honest with you, I really thank you for these good questions. I wanted to discuss that because I've been amazed and surprised by all this stupidity. Allow me to say that. Stupidity. They are blind. They are stupid. They are not seeing what have President Sisi done to their country. You know, with due respect, allow me to say, I lived at the point and the time when Back then, during Sadat or President Mubarak, they always say, oh, tomorrow we're going to place or put the stone to build a factory or whatever, okay? But now, you don't hear that during His Excellency, President Sisi. You sleep, you wake up, and you hear about beautiful development,
Yes.
whether in agriculture or in industrial or. And plus, of course, his vision to multiply the armed forces from other strong, powerful nations, that's something very smart. Now we go back to our point. All
Yes.
these stupid people that they go lock the entrance of the Egyptian consulate or embassies around the world, are they that stupid? Really? Are they stupid? Why don't they go protest in front of the Israeli embassy? Why don't they do that front of the American embassy? Why don't they do that front of any embassy of a country that supports the Zionists or the genocide? Why
Yes.
don't they do that?
Yes.
Why would they go front of the Egyptian consulate or embassy and protest? I mean, that's really stupid. And now the other social media attacking the Egyptian government or the president, they are all blind. They are very stupid. My call to my fellow Egyptian, because I'm proud to be Egyptian American,
Yes.
and of course proud to be Egyptian, born in Egypt, learned in Egypt, went to study in Egypt, my business in Egypt, all my life in Egypt, and I still, even though I'm running for a congressional seat here, Congress, being the first Egyptian American to run for Congress, but I still, Egypt is my home. Egypt is the center place of the world, and without Egypt, the Middle East will not exist. And I call on everyone that ever think negative of the government, of President Sisi, to wake up, stop this stupidity, and see around what have President Sisi and the government done. When you look at the President Sisi, you can see all the business development and everything have done in Egypt, and I don't think the program time will allow me to list them all.
Yes.
The Egyptian government led by Dr. Madbouli, the armed forces, what they have done to protect our borders. We have enemies everywhere.
Yes.
On the border from Libya, from Sudan, from Israel, from everywhere. And we have other countries that envy us. So we have enemies everywhere, and you can see the armed forces are protecting our country. President Sisi's vision is very smart. Of course, also His Excellency, Minister Tawfiq, the Minister of Interior, keeping the country safe against
Mahmoud
any
Tawfiq.
terrorists.
Yes.
So again, final, those stupid people or blind, if you are going to protest, go ahead and stand in front of the Israeli consulates around the world or the American embassy and ask them to stop the genocide and support Israel and have them come on the table and bring peace to the Middle East along with Egypt, Qatar, Saudi, and other beautiful neighbor countries like Emirates and others.
Yes, Dr. Mohamed ElSherbini, the Egyptian political analyst living in the United States. Thank you very much for being with us tonight on Panorama News and Nile TV International, and good luck.
God bless you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
اصحينا على صوت الدب.